Claimed by some as the most rapidly expanding belief in the last 200 years, borderline nationalistic ideas and beliefs are stretching into homes across the world. Nationalism isn't the only idea growing rapidly, though. 43% of Americans now view socialism positively compared to 25% in the early 1940s. With the rise in socialistic beliefs, it poses a question if communism then follows. Of course, we couldn't leave out the most popular one, capitalism. The challenge we're looking at today is whether social constructs, even communism, in their purest form, could all potentially make sense in their purest form. We'll see. Tonight, we're here to twist your mind a little bit by exploring the pros and cons of each one. So don't take it too personally, but we're just here to talk about it. Tonight, I'm joined by Kirztyn, Matt, and Aryan. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so I have a hot take question here, just about nationalism, because this is probably one of the most highly talked about, isms you could call it. So is socialism a little bit. But what's the difference between being patriotic and being a nationalist? Like, Aryan, what do you think?
I think it's more about passion, because when it comes to patriotism, you are fully devoted.
Right.
But when it comes to nationalism, I think it's more of a superiority in one's country when someone else might be staying there.
Okay, but how do you decipher what passion versus thinking that you're better than somebody else is?
I think it's very...
You come across in very different
true.
ways.
So I think it also depends how long you've stayed in a place. Because when you stay in a place, you're rooted, but not just in terms of being there physically, but upbringing, culture,
adapting beliefs, adapting to social norms. And
Matt, do you think that somebody who's passionate about their country, are they in some way a nationalist?
I think I would say you could argue that for anyone to be proud of their country in that regard. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with being patriotical or proud to say, like, you know, like I'm proud to be Canadian, or I'm proud to be American, or I'm proud to be wherever. So I think it's all contextual based on country.
But if I say Americans are the best in the world, or Canadians are the best in the world, they're the best country, am I being a nationalist, or am I just passionate with a strong view?
I think that would be more patriotic. I would definitely say the biggest differentiation between patriotism and nationalism would be that nationalism requires this rigid criteria, like you were talking about, the language, culture, history. Actually, one of the biggest quotes that I did remember from my schooling was by Ernest Renan. He's a rationalist French thinker, and he talked about nationalism being the conformity to a collective unity.
The conformity to a collective unity.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So in order for nationalism to work is that you have to conform to whatever that collective identity is.
Of the nation state.
Yes, exactly.
So it's actually really interesting, because today we don't view nationalism as a great thing. But what's interesting is the French Revolution was sparked, and nationalism is what actually came out of that, because nationalism is what we used to, or not we, but the French used to fight against monarchism and being abused by their people. Is that not interesting to you guys? How it was like, as time goes on, some things are better, some things are worse?
Yeah, I would definitely agree, because back then, during the French Revolution, nationalism was seen as a source of liberation.
Right,
you know?
right.
And then that shift between the 19th century and early 20th century, it went from now we're looking at promoting the most superior ethnic identity.
But if nationalism, because nationalism is actually what created our countries. Like that it's called nation states, right? Mm-hmm. So what puts that in the same bucket as being as bad as being a communist or being a socialist, or like what makes it that bad?
My take on this is not bad, but something different.
Okay.
Is Canada in general is more global. So I think being more nationalist, I think we have to be more global as global citizens.
Oh, so
because you have different cultures all involved. And then that could be bad, maybe.
But that's also a part of Canadian identity. Like we're branded as like a...
Versus what? American. What would American be?
America? You're American, you know? Whereas Canadian, it's more embedded in our Canadian ideology and how literally the formation of our country is like built on. We are built on the backs of immigrants, like people coming here to seek, you know,
but technically all countries are the same as America. No?
Yes, but I also think one of the biggest things, aside from us being like a melting pot, is that globalization, us kind of going beyond our national borders, especially with social media. We're so close to the United States that, you know, on social media, all their issues are now our issues. So...
Okay, I've got to stop you there, but that's actually a really good point. We'll talk about that in the next one. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.